I think honestly for pastors and artists, it's so important that before we start with creativity that we develop a theology, a healthy biblical theology of God, of man, of kind of what we do when we gather on Sundays, or or whatever. Also, just of what is what is our theology of worship? You know what I mean? Like what is worship? What does scattered worship look like? What does gathered worship look like? What does personal disciplines with God? What does that look like? How do I engage with Scripture? How do I meditate on Scripture? To meditate on Scripture, you need to memorize Scripture. Well, how do I memorize Scripture? And I think it's so important for us to get that, and then develop, again, like I mentioned before, like a healthy biblical theology of creativity, wisdom in history, and kind of a biblical understanding of worship and what you perceive it to be. And honestly, for me, it's conversations with Sam, our senior pastor, and saying, I want to be submitted to you and the elders. I want to do this wisely, biblically, and also with your support. And so I think once we're on the same team, and we aren't going to see eye to eye on every little detail, and that's okay. But I think just having a developed theology, I think so many people have. I think a few years ago, some church asked me to apply for something, and they said, "What's your theology of worship?" And I was like, "What? I love Jesus. Is that not enough? And it's like the older I get, I'm like, no, it's not enough. Like it's not just enough for you as a leader of the church. It's not just for the sake of intellectual kind of rationale or being able to get in a good fight. It really is for the sake of wisdom and maturity. Leave the milk behind, move on to some of the things of understanding what it is that we do and why we do it."